I too was not going to speak today, but most of my colleagues from the upper end of the Willamette Valley have spoken, and I think it's important because this is probably one of the most important bills affecting basic policy for my constituents. I have the valley, we have to recognize what this valley is like. And I think all of us have a kind of a map sense of it. But I wonder if you don't drive south from here to Eugene during the summer, you may not really understand the nature of this geography and how it actually works. Now, I'm not a meteorologist, so I'm not going to put this in meteorological terms. But the way this valley is shaped, we go uphill as we go south. Eugene is about 400 feet. Portland's about 40 feet above sea level at the river. We're going uphill as we go south, and the mountains are closing in. The Coast Range, the Cascade Range, the foothills, and not very far south of Eugene, we start hitting rolling country, which is no longer flat. You get down to Cottage Grove and further south, and the bottom end of the valley is sealed in. Most of the summer, we have prevailing winds from the northwest. So the detritus of civilization, the diesel smoke, the other things that we put off, just as part of our normal operations, settle in the southern part of Lynn County and in the central part of Lane County, from Cottage Grove north to about Harrisburg or so, and then intermittently further north than that. As I drove south last weekend, was that Friday afternoon, I was reminded forcefully again of the nature of that appearance. The sky is clear in Salem. The sky is clear in Albany. But I can see in the distance, as I approach Spencer's Butte, which you can see from a long way off, the growing haze. Not from field burning, just from everything else. And it feels like driving into a tunnel. Now, not as bad as it's been on days in the past, but simply a reminder to those of us who live there of what the nature of the geography of this valley is and the nature of the weather. Colleagues, I cannot tell you how it reminds me of the negative aspects of living where we do in the upper Willamette Valley in the summertime. Now, add to that the jolt that we get when a field is burned. At 6 o'clock in the morning, the Department of Agriculture says, you can burn today, the skies are ventilating, the smoke will go up and up over the Cascade Mountains and to the east. By 8:15, the fires are set, and like as not, by 8:30, the weather has changed, and the smoke is now settling into the upper end of the Willamette Valley, where it will stay for several days. I'm not going to talk about the health hazards. Those have been talked about in great detail by others. I am going to say the very first complaint that we got in 2006 was from a constituent of mine who lives on the Brownsville Road between Brownsville and Sweet Home, the northern part of my district in Lynn County. Wasn't from Eugene at all. It was from a rural resident who farms and whose house was inundated by field burning smoke immediately to the west. Most of the complaints I receive in my district, by the way, runs south to Crestwell, north all the way.
Does anyone yield? Representative Reed yields.
Thank you, Representative. All the way to the edge of Lebanon and Sweet Home, mostly east of the freeway, but jumping to the west of the freeway just north of Harrisburg, and including Coburg. So it's a very, very diverse district, mostly rural, some urban. Most of the people who I get complaints from about field burning smoke are rural residents, not from the city of Eugene. They actually live in the rural area. So that's what I wanted to talk about geography. Now, I want to talk about agriculture, and I have not heard this today. I've heard people claim that agriculture is number one, and that's the way they're going to vote, and that's fine. But I want you to know that agriculture is not united in this. Grass seed is only one part of agriculture, and according to the information we got from the Good Carrier, and I believe this to be true, 90% of of grass seed is not related to field burning. But we have important truck garden crops in the Willamette Valley every summer, and I know from my discussions with the farmers at the markets, at the direct sales markets, that they are negatively impacted by field burning smoke in agriculture. I don't have any wineries in my district, but the wineries that are nearby are all negatively impacted by field burning smoke. I'd like to introduce you to the Pfeiffers someday, Robin and Danuta, who run a small winery in the foothills of the Coast Range just west of Junction City. They complain bitterly about the field burning smoke and the effect that it has in that locale on the operation of their farming business, which is growing grapes. Similar complaints come from the much larger operation to the south at King Estates. Agriculture is not a unitary business. It's many, many small businesses, and many of those businesses are negatively impacted by field burning. I want to respond to a comment made by the representative from Happy Valley. There he is. I have always been supportive of better forest management, and I'm looking forward to the day when we manage the forests that are upwind of your district so that we don't have devastating forest fires that leave smoke in your district for days, just as I am hoping that this bill to reduce the amount of smoke that lingers in my district for days is passed. Colleagues, this bill is a critically important bill. I've been saying all session that this bill is one of my take-home bills, even though the representative from the Emerald Empire has been working this bill, and he has worked it very, very well. And I strongly urge, I implore you, help take care of the people in the upper end of the Willamette Valley. Reduce this jolt of the extra pollution that we get in our atmosphere. Protect the rest of agriculture in this area, and give this bill an aye vote. One final comment. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, this bill to the representative from Far Eastern Oregon, this bill does not put anyone out of business. The vast majority of the grass seed growers have been successful in managing their businesses without burning. And there is no reason, no believable reason, why it would not be true for the rest, with the exceptions which are contained in the bill for dealing with disease and with those particular species that can be managed in no other way. Again, colleagues, I implore, I urge, and I vote, take care of the residents of Oregon who live in the upper end of the Willamette Valley. Thank you very much.